What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Mamaverse podcast, where we bring experts in physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual wellness to talk about how moms can improve their overall health in their daily life. I'm your host, Tu-Hien Lee, and we have a special guest today, Tara Elzingre. Tara is a career and life coach who helps moms and dads balance work and life with more fun and in less time. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Tu-Hien. Lovely to meet you.
This is nice. Thank you for joining us on the Mamaverse podcast. We're excited to have you here today.
I'm delighted to be here all the way from Ireland.
Yes. So, Tara, I would love to hear more about your background and what inspired you to get into your line of work.
For sure. So I graduated college in 2010, and during this time I was already working in retail to kind of get myself through college as well. And unfortunately, I was leaving at the height of the recession. So I ended up sticking with my retail job. But progressed quite quickly to managerial roles and coaching teams.
Tara, hold on one second.
Everything okay?
I feel like something's happening on the Wi-Fi side.
No problem.
I'm checking my Wi-Fi to make sure. Is your Wi-Fi okay?
Yeah, it's coming through okay.
Okay. Did you see the screen like glitch?
No, unfortunately.
Okay. I don't know. It came back through. Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna ask you that again. I'm going to ask you about your background again. Okay. For like half of your thing got cut off. Okay.
No problem.
Okay. So Tara, we'd love to hear more about your background and what inspired you to get into your line of work.
Yeah. So I graduated college in 2010 and came out at the height of the recession and ended up sticking with my retail job where I was managing and coaching teams. And when I went back to work after my first pregnancy, the retail role, which was basically 60 hours, a lot of time on the road, because I had been managing multiple millionaire stores, it really wasn't going to suit a young family when my husband was also quite busy. So I took the, I suppose, leap of faith and ended up retraining and going into recruitment. Which I really enjoyed and got to do some even more coaching again through that frontier. And during my second maternity leave, that was when I decided I wanted to start up a side hustle of doing coaching because that was the aspect of the job from both my previous roles that I really enjoyed. And I really just wanted to help support parents more than anything else. I guess having found myself after maternity, seeing all these shifts inside me and my priorities and wanting to help other parents who might be going through that. And particularly with all my knowledge of, kind of career adjustments and career changes from the recruitment, that's really where I decided to focus on helping parents with their career and trying to get that life balance with the career as well.
Yeah. So when you were working in retail, what kind of coaching were you doing there?
So it was kind of a mixed bag. I suppose my last role, I had been running a millionaire store in where I was kind of, I guess, where my base was. But then I was also starting to open up new stores within our area. So there was, kind of over 23 stores that I would have overseen the training for of new staff, had to recruit them, and then I suppose kind of coach them into leadership positions as well, because they love to hire from within. So they would have often come to either my store, which was our flagship store, to receive training from me, or I would have gone to their store and coached them from that perspective into their leadership positions.
Okay. So then you're just building on this skill set and experience and translating over into parents trying to excel in their career while finding that life balance, right?
That's right. I did, I suppose, kind of I do a personal leadership and executive coaching course back in 2020, January 2020 with Kingstown College, just to kind of, I suppose, really hone in on those coaching skills. And I did a parenting coaching course then as well with the Irish Life Institute.
What would you say is like the biggest like overlap in like coaching on a professional side versus coaching like parents? What kind of like commonalities did you find?
Definitely confidence more than anything else, and how that lack of confidence can stem very often from, just not, I suppose, living by your own values, but then not understanding your own strengths as well, where you're using, kind of, I suppose, your strengths in your personal life that may overlap in your professional life. Particularly as parents, I think we really underestimate ourselves, and our strengths as being a parent. I think any caretaker role in itself is probably one of the hardest positions, and you're not getting paid for it. It's the longest hours out there, and then those skills can really easily translate into a lot of different professions, and we don't often recognize that for ourselves or give ourselves enough of a pat on the back for it. So just really that confidence in ourselves, and particularly, I guess, because I've helped so many move into those leadership positions, once they kind of started to realize that, the promises that they were making to themselves and breaking daily, if they could just change this, they could build up a lot more confidence.
Oh, that's so interesting. So do you work with right now, do you work with both men and women or just mostly moms?
It is mostly moms. I do help men as well, and I've always been very kind of, I suppose, adamant in wanting that duality of being able to help, you know, dads and moms in my career. I do think, naturally speaking, most, kind of, I suppose, my clients are naturally drawn to me because of my language. I obviously speak like a mom. I don't speak dad as often, but I do believe that we need to support men, support fathers basically just as much as we do with moms. And, I think the role of a parent is rapidly changing now, and those traditional roles of mom and dad are kind of starting to cross over a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
in a good way. And, we, in order to kind of develop that language, we need to kind of include both parents in it.
When you say that the roles of both moms and dads are kind of crossing over, what have you been seeing like happening as far as different trends?
So I think, before, and we're kind of seeing a shift at the moment from moving away from the 9 to 5 work routine. And, I think COVID and the pandemic really did help this, where we now can see how much we can get done, if we just open up those time frames. And because of that, fathers are starting to take on more, I suppose, kind of the home roles, and kind of, I suppose, even more of the caregiving roles at home, in order to kind of save on childcare and things like that as well. And in order to have a more flexible work environment and flexibility, home environment as well. And because of this, we're trying to, I guess, it's not even just about like kind of stay-at-home dads anymore, or stay-at-home moms now. It's, we can both actually work, and we can, kind of mix
And
it
both
up a
stay
lot
at
more throughout
home.
the day. Yeah, exactly. That's it. And, we can both kind of share the workload, and it doesn't have to be equal 50-50 all the time, but it can be, I'll do the laundry and you'll pick up the kids. And, it kind of, that sort of job can be split.
Mm.
And I think a lot more dads are open to that now as well. And it's becoming increasingly more common to see it.
Mm-hmm. Now that I think about it, and I think about my friends who are both working and they having children, they would like take turns going into the office because we're still coming out of COVID
That's right.
restrictions. It's like hybrid work at home,
Yes,
work in the office. So one parent's in the office, one's at home with kids, with probably the nanny or some other form of help in childcare. But at least there's one parent at home and
for
rotating
sure.
that way, which is different from maybe like 30 or 40 years ago, which is interesting.
That's it. And I think if you think about it, like 9 to 5 came up, it happened during the industrial ages when you were working machines and the machines had to be running at a certain time. Now our machines are our laptops that, and our mobile phones. We literally have them in our pockets. And we have a lot more time freedom. Most families anyway, there's still obviously a few different industries that are, have those restrictions. But even, the likelihood of both parents being in the same industry that's restricted and time wise doesn't really happen as much anymore. And it's just, I suppose, kind of helping us to shift our perspective of what a parent can look like as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you're working with moms and you're helping them, finding that work-life balance, or I don't know if balance is the right word, what is like the first step or the first like thing that you're tackling and helping them address?
So yeah, like I mean, again, I think work-life balance is probably the best term to use because it's probably the most common term. I do talk to my clients about using kind of like I suppose work-life sway because I do think that balance doesn't really, you're not trying to have things in equal measures. You are trying to change things up a little bit. And if we do have time, we can get into the sway concept. But when a mom particularly first comes to me, it rarely is in reality to get balance. It is more time freedom and I guess getting more energy and just getting more done in their day. And so we always kind of start with a time audit. It's usually the first step is actually where is your time going? Well, what are you spending your time on? And where might be the kind of chunks of time that you don't realize are actually I suppose more easy to use if you just prioritize them better.
Mm-hmm. What's the time chunk that you're finding that people are using, but maybe not realizing they're using?
So, uh, I guess there's kind of a few different things. Like it's usually kind of the spaces in between the routines. So we're very good at setting like a morning routine or like a nighttime routine. But when we come home in the evenings and kind of just walk in the door, most of us don't have an idea as to what we're going to put on the dinner table. And, kind of, I suppose we're trying to, maybe send that last email, entertain the kids, get dinner ready, throw in a load of laundry. And, there's a time chunk between kind of like 4 and 6, where if we just kind of set a routine then as well, and instead of just the bedtime routine, we could actually potentially get a bit more done. That one is quite common, and the other one is the evening times as well, where we're all kind of, I guess, just waiting to sit on the couch and scroll through the phone, and we all do it and we all need it. But there could be moments within there where, if you just broke I suppose tasks down to 15-minute chunks and realize that I can get this done in 15 minutes, it doesn't seem as daunting.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So you touched upon it earlier, but I kind of want to like dive into it more. But you talked about the work life sway, right?
Mhm.
Let's talk
Yes.
about that because when I hear the word balance, I'm thinking like equal, like you said, equal measures. Like I should be spending equally as much time with my daughter as I do at work, and that's like maybe not possible on a daily basis, right? So,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, and look, I like to look at the holistic picture as well because we do talk obviously mainly about family life and work life, but there's other elements to our lives as well. We all have friends, we all have extended family, we all have hobbies and other things outside of it as well. And it's not possible to get all of it in a day. It's not possible to get to all of it in a week either. And I think sometimes we can kind of try and kill ourselves to fit it all in because we're trying to find that balance. And self-care is another element that quite often is last on the to-do list. So I've quite often started using this word work-life sway because I feel like it's a nicer concept. And it's, I always use the image of a tree, and a tree quite often sways, but it needs really, really strong roots. You need to be grounded in a nourishing environment, and you need, strong roots in order for this tree to grow. So what's your nourishing environment? Like having a look at where you're kind of setting yourself up. Like, what's your work like? Do you enjoy it? What are your values? are you living a life by your values? What's your home life like? Is it something that, you feel happiest in? And quite often we would do something like a wheel and maybe kind of assess that environment and kind of see like where you're hoping to grow from. And again, like looking at a tree, it grows upwards, it grows towards the light. The more it branches out, the stronger it is. It learns to let go of its leaves, and then it blossoms in the summer. It goes with the seasons. And I think this is why I love this concept so much, because it can surround itself by other trees. There's so many different tiers to it in reality. But like if we started living our life like this, where we're constantly trying to grow, and we learn that there are times of that we need, I guess, transformational rest, where it can be like longer winters and shorter winters, or we need longer summers sometimes where there's sporadic growth, and we learn to go with that, then we can be a lot more comfortable. And sometimes we may need to grow a bit more in terms of our family life, and sometimes we need to grow a bit more in your work life. As you said yourself, it's not possible to give yourself in equal measures to your daughter all the time as it is to give to your work. There are times where your clients are going to have to come first, and there are times where you may have to step back from your work a little bit more in order to concentrate from at home. So if you can, I guess, set up your environment in a way that can handle that flexibility, you'll keep swaying with between the two.
Mm-hmm. Where are you finding that women are struggling the most in like making this more conscious decision to, bring in this concept of sway into their lives?
Um, I think there's a few different things, but I think it's trying to do it all themselves, and not leaning on their support systems enough, or finding their support systems. We can be quite shy about asking for help. And I think that is something that it does kind of happen quite often. If we do start asking for help, we start realizing that people are not only like are delighted that we're asking for the help, but they're almost privileged to help us as well. I think that the other part of that, which is kind of, I suppose, along the same lines of asking for help, is actually delegating the work. Quite often we feel like nobody's going to clean our house as clean as we are. Nobody's going to cook the meal the same way that we will. And we're, kind of, I suppose, a little bit reluctant to give over the reins in those departments. And whereas we can just make our lives so much easier if we did outsource some of these tasks.
Mm-hmm. So if you could give, our audience of moms just like your top tip or top 3 tips to getting started and to really, embrace this work-life sway, what would it be?
Certainly, I think number one is definitely just find your tribe, find your village, and nobody's going to find it for you. It doesn't have to be your family, but there are definitely lovely communities out there, like this one as well. Just that are trying to kind of support women and trying to support moms. So just find your tribe. You achieve what you believe is probably something that I stress to all of my clients, which is, it is your mindset as well. So if you believe that you can achieve it, you will. And if you believe that you won't achieve it, you won't. So, just kind of start believing in it yourself a little bit more. And I guess third, success doesn't happen overnight. It's due to, I suppose, the progress that you're making every day, a mixture of your priorities and your progress, and just making sure that you celebrate that progress every day.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you so much, Tara, for joining us. Where can our audience find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on any social media handle. I'm on Instagram as Perrine_solutions, Facebook at Perrine.ie, or you can visit my website, Perrine.ie as well.
Awesome. So Of course, we'll have all those links linked at the bottom of the show notes and the description of the episode. So I encourage everybody to go and connect with Tara and send her a message, say hi, tell her that you found her on from the Mamaverse and ask her your questions. I'm sure she would be so happy to connect and help you send some and share some of her expertise and guidance as well. So thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
so
us
much for having me on.
today. Yes, and to all the listeners, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.